The filthy Frank of politics has entered his Joji era. JREG has established a think tank, inviting the best creators and the best personalities to exchange ideas and make propaganda in a collective space just across the border. They've called the think tank the CCCRU, an homage to the turn-of-the-century British Cybernetic Cultural Research Unit, or CCRU. But they're Canadian. They're the Canadian CCRU. Very clever, guys. Despite a saturated market, they're all about accelerationism. The ideology already has an iron grip in peptide-addled tech hubs like Palo Alto, New York, Miami, Boston, and even the White House. Their think tank has been stretching their grimy tendrils across the online political space to expand their market share. These maple monkeys have even sent an ambassador to the biggest accelerationist streamer in the space to buddy-buddy discuss right-wing politics, occultism, and esotericism. They don't talk about their goals. But these people have an agenda, and we may be able to discern it by the content they produce. While avoiding talk of Iran, CCCRU member, God, what a pain in the ass to say, every time. Brogan, also known as ArtChad, just wants to discuss George Bataille on the internet, and I'm not gonna let him. Hi, I'm The Spell, and I'm about to shit all over this dude. If you'd like to see me commend Destiny for keeping his hands off a pretty young lady, and read my analysis of Tropical Stuck's collaboration, feel free to join the Discord. The link is in the doobly-doo. We have an active community of formal and informal blog authors, as well as a variety of schizophrenics. Also in the description is the archived library. These are cybernetic classics we've gone over on live streams that you have access to free of charge. Now, I've never read Bataille's Accursed Share, but let me set the stage for you. The CCRU was an anti-capitalist weird fiction literature collective researching the developing modern interface between technology and biology. Dweebs call this area of research post-humanism. The CCRU devolved into substance abuse, doom, gloom, depressive realism, and a cult surrounding the member, Nick Land. Considering they were high all the time, you can imagine how much research they actually got done. Despite this, Land, whose incoherent writing is attributed with the ideological consecration of accelerationism, was accompanied by seminal works like Mark Fisher's liberal critique of capitalism and Sadie Plant's contributions to cyberfeminism. Surely, JREG's clique won't devolve like their predecessors did. These two Hoosier heads run a weekly podcast discussing politics, culture, and news. Brogan is a former bartender like AOC and JREG's co-host on the Horseshoe Theory podcast. He's been rapidly adapting to the ideological rigor and irony JREG has immersed himself in for years. So let's take a look at what he has picked up.
We were talking to Dave last night about politics.
Right.
Okay. And this gets into, I've been reading some George.
Dave from Theory Underground, who's visiting the studio right now.
Who's 50 feet away from us.
Theory Underground? Okay, that's how you know this will be a nitwit take. Real theory heads go to Acid Horizon. No, I'm just kidding. Theory Underground is great. I guess I just hated his video with one dime.
I've been reading some George Bataille.
Right.
Right. And
Annihilation of the Self. Thirst for Annihilation.
No, that's Nick Land's.
Right, yeah.
That's Nick Land's books
what
on
is
George
Bataille known for?
He has this interesting idea of sovereignty and what it means to be like sovereign and free.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about like sovereign expenditure, right? So this is in connection to like older societies where sort of like your signifier of wealth was your ability to do things unproductively, right? It wasn't about like what you had; it was about the things you have being unproductive.
Bataille's general economy is based on the primordial human-social relationship described by Moss. Traditional economics believes the origin of commerce was bartering. We've known this was not the case, and bartering was the exception for a long time. But we still think otherwise because he who controls history controls the present. Literally. Gifts, services, meals, and relationships are part of a broader social cycle in which each gift comes with an obligation to return. Attempting to out-prestige with your gift in reciprocity is an attempt to vassalize your former giftor. If the cycle stalled and gifts no longer respected, or should gifts reciprocally escalate, violence between clans or tribes would erupt. Cycles of escalating gifts were considered wasteful, a failure of rational planning keeping primitive societies from industrializing. This antiquated model of human economic history reeks of Western chauvinism, and Bataille claps back. Le principe archaïque de la riche se présente dans aucune des attentions qu'apportant les avarices de l'époque ultérieure. La riche apparaît comme une acquisition dans la mesure où Une prison est acquise par un homme riche, mais elle est tout entière digérée vers la perte dans la mesure où cette prison se caractérise comme prison de perte. C'est uniquement par la perte de la gloire et l'honneur sont liés à la riche. In his 1925 ethnography, Moss makes the claim that objects gifted carry a portion of the gifter's soul, and these transactions or exchanges are simultaneously constituted in legal, religious, social, and ecological obligations, which our modern rationally planned economy has alienated, resulting in our neoliberal stagnation.
Lawns are a great example, right? Do you know why we have lawns on our houses?
Why?
Because it's an unproductive use of land.
Hi, this is Tony. On today's episode of soul-crushing and spiritually depressing landscapes of North America, we got a real banger coming at you straight out of Far, Texas. Let's go check it out. Already getting started with this extensive spread of St. Augustine grass, which requires a lot of moisture to stay alive when it's summer 11 months out of the year. Great way to piss away your slowly declining water reserves. Reservoirs are already going dry in the region. Look at what's happening to Corpus Christi. Great way to piss this away on a crop you're not going to eat and otherwise not going to use, and most people aren't going to pay attention to because they're going to be driving by it at 30 miles per hour. But the sense of desperation and wanting to give up doesn't stop there. Let's look at some of these dying trees they put in. Now, these are non-native oaks. They're native.
Bataille actually starts with a critique of surplus value. But lawns are a great angle because value and utility are contiguous. Marx defines surplus value like the astronomers define dark matter. The density of matter throughout the universe is not homogeneous, and some of our models don't quite fit our observations. Something's going on. Something's not quite right. People lose a portion of their labor to material, legal, and political affordances accumulated and centralized long before they were ever born. With the Industrial Revolution, bad vibes started to accumulate, so Marx proclaimed the difference in experiential human labor value and market human labor value must represent the surplus value extracted by exploitation. To Marxocrats, value is somehow transcendental and appraisable by rational humans, but utility is both personal and structurally defined. Bataille, however, contrasts the restrictive accumulative economy to the sacrificial gift economy proposed by Moss, and he proposes the entropy of every interaction saturates human concepts of waste, destruction, unlife, and transgression. Each cannot exist without the other, and Bataille believes the modern woes are an imbalance between the two. It's important, and I feel like Broken gets caught up in the name drop of sovereign expenditure rather than the substance and the material behind it that built it and is absolutely necessary to understand what Bataille means.
So, lords and landlords and shit I think it started in, I'm not exactly sure where it started, but it started in England or France, on their estates would have bigger and bigger lawns and hire teams to take care and cut the grass because it was an expression of look, I have all of this thing, I have all this land, I don't have to do anything with it because I'm already wealthy. So it's an expression of sovereign expenditure.
Okay.
Constituted like entropy, Bataille believes all real interactions are always characterized by waste, and in the human context also represent conflict between seduction and command, sacrifice and misery, fascination with the mundane, and accumulation with loss. Modern analysis requires us to understand how power defines waste. Let's see how Brogan analyzes power.
In the way capital operates as an alien force, we lose our ability to express ourselves and have sovereign expenditure, to express ourselves and to be truly free. All of us, everything we do becomes consumed by the concept of progress.
Yeah.
I've got a massive problem with this, and I actually cannot believe he said that. Put a pin in that. It feels like Brogan fumbles Bataille's point here, because sovereign expenditure has to be waste. Bataille critiques rational capitalist utilitarianism, and to be free, to be truly free, is to waste under the capitalist frame. Another problem I have with what Brogan said is he does not refer to what the production of progress looks like, something also key to Bataille's critique of surplus value. There's no true freedom like Brogan refers to, neither for the sovereign nor the serf, but what I think he has accurately picked up on is the material and sign exchange dimensions of value, because this is exactly what he goes on to describe.
Right, so if I go out and buy a Rolex, the value to that is the sign value of owning a Rolex and walking into a meeting or something like that and having a Rolex on. It's a productive asset, right? We only express ourselves with productive assets. And politics is perhaps the best example of this. It's why everything becomes political, right?
Okay.
You don't have the luxury to not care.
Yeah.
And everything, all your thoughts become productive thoughts. When you talk about geopolitics, right? We're two fucking leafs sitting on this chair for our podcast in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just two little guys. You're just two little guys on the couch. You're just two little Canadian Leaf guys on the couch. Let's be serious here. This contradicts Bataille's understanding of waste. A Rolex is still productive in the capitalist bourgeois frame. In a proletarian frame, it's a waste, and it makes me think Brogan is a crypto-Marxist. Humans are not the center of the universe, but like Marxocrats, accelerationists believe there's a transcendental, rational organizing principle to human progress. But it's not God. To be real though, the mere concept of waste is a joke because objects never truly die. They're transformed. It's just a debate about time frame and utility. Marxists believe waste is delicately placed in the whimsy of the foolish rich, and efficient production can be rationally planned by collective assent to meet the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and afford all humans the positive freedom to pursue rationality. Everyone knows power corrupts, but together we will manage it because it's the inevitable march of progress. Nick Land, though, believes specifically life constitutes the waste being burned off from the progress of technology, which is more resistant and eventually will sacrifice humanity or twist it beyond recognition into whatever use technology requires for the march of progress. But what did Brogan believe? If you'd like the woke patch notes on waste and power, I can recommend The Accumulation of Waste by Ali Kadri. I know the CCCRU does not believe humanity is a waste like Land does. They may think some people are a waste in the Landian sense, but most accelerationists have already sort of accepted this like the performative, superficial bitch Nicholas Decker, who certain believes this and advocates we centralize resources in the already gifted instead of nurturing variety. I think Brogan has values more in line with the latter, but I'm not sure. We can get clues based on how he talks about post-human subjects.
In the heart of all politics cells, there is that desire to be useful, sort of contending with the fundamental uselessness of caring about politics.
It's gesture.
It's gesture. Yeah.
Clavicular said it best. Politics is gesture.
Politics is gesture. Yeah. You posted a meme where like everything converges onto clavicular. You really like clavicular.
No, that was just supposed to be like a zoomer.
Clavicular is a great case study on the intersection between biology and technology. He is the model post-human subject right now. He's someone who has merged capital value and social value. Some allege that his fame is fabricated, and I say that's irrelevant.
But I do like him.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly fascinated. I think more than probably anybody I know with clavicular. I think he might be like the most important manifestation of undercurrents of society.
You said the Nietzschean thirst for self-annihilation?
Yeah, the
Bataille.
George Bataille.
So the Bataille thirst for self-annihilation.
Yeah, to transcend the flesh.
Represents that.
To transcend the flesh as a product of like the alienness of capitalism. This is more like the Landian interpretation.
Here's where I had to put down the video and start writing this. Treating capitalism as alien or an outsideness is a Landian realism, and I didn't expect them to concede that. I expected better from them. It's us. It always has been us. This is the problem with extrapolating entropy as waste to humans. We culturally define what is waste and what is not. We define what the value of sacrifice is and how it should be mediatized. Brogan is communicating in the liberal frame, so I understand the inclination to treat capitalism as an outsideness, but is contrary to Bataille's concept of a general economy, and contrary to their audience's values. The capitalist accumulatory economy and sacrificial economy are opposed but embedded within us. To take a critical distance to capitalism feels like it means you distinguish it from yourself. You're making a value judgment. Something about capitalism is not valuable and should be put on the periphery. J-Reg and Brogan value humans in a way Nick Land does not, because Nick Land is anti-human. However, the left, their audience, broadly believes society benefits from integrating the periphery, the marginalized. And I could write a whole nother essay on how the left tokenizes differences, which I guess Brogan is doing here. But the point is, everyone knows capitalism sucks. It's not alien to anyone that capitalism sucks, so why are you putting it in the periphery? What are you actually trying to convey when you talk about alien capitalism, suppressing humanity, and the human thirst for annihilation? If the CCCRU are rejecting Land's interpretation of humanity's role in progress, where's your alternative? The thirst for annihilation is not a description of a transcendental true property of humanity, forged from Freud's death drive, but it represents a collective means of grappling with the reproduction of humanity as our geo, eco, and biosphere, collectively known as the zoosphere, violently reacts to the waste of our industrialization so far. Simulations indicate this summer we're going to experience the most extreme El Niño event in human history. We do not know what will come, nor the horrors we will see in the future. At the same time our Zoe host rejects us, techno-capital will afford people greater and greater opportunities to modify their body. This is what we see in someone like Clavicular or biohackers, and what we find satirized in cute accelerationism. Humanity has played for a long time with the idea of less than human or more than human. But now, there's a real pressure and a responsibility to emonize the post-human, and I'd like them to do it positively, or at all. I can recommend you to Rosy Briotti's Post-Human Knowledge for Woke Patch Notes on Posthumanism. By any stretch of the imagination, J-Reg and Brogan are not positive fans of Nick Land. They don't like him, and are in a way attempting to walk in his footsteps, but do it right this time. Thing is, I don't understand why they'd pearl clutch over Land making fun of his CCRU peer, Mark Fisher, for unaliving himself. It is well within Land's character to hate humanity for its fallibility. This is going to be my most woke scold line yet, but it's true. Politics isn't just about what you say, it's also about what you leave out. There's a reason J-Reg does not want to talk about Nick Fuentes on every episode. I think he's got the right idea. I understand what he's going for. I have faith Brogan understands the reason, but this episode left me unconvinced that he's integrated it. Multiple times during this episode, I felt like something was missing. I'm not going to rest blame only on Brogan. I'm calling out J-Reg too. Their dynamic tees up me to not criticize J-Reg as well as Brogan, because he is a cis, white, right-wing bait who's accepted the male gender role of protecting and caring for his zany queer friend, anxious about the future of the world. They missed the sacrificial gift economy, they missed a positive post-humanism, and I'm not sure they understand what Nick Land means by accelerationism, or they just take the very real consequences lightly. There's other concerns I've alluded to but I've not brought up, and that's for them to intuit. Guys, is this podcast just gooning, or are you maxing something? I trust them to figure it out. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please share the video with your friends and comment your thoughts. I do read everything. If you're sick of LARPing cyberneticians, join me for my Saturday live streams going through some of the OGs of cybernetics, like Takun, Beer, or Bateson. If you hate me and hated this video, please like the video, because every like is like a little nuclear bomb to my ego, and a bunch of likes will actually just destroy me. I'll be a different person.